Jhyve, it's great seeing you. I don't know if you remember or not, but a couple of years ago when you got that Juno Award, I should say nomination for Best R&B Recording, you and I did an interview together at that time. It was a long time ago. I still have the video. It's still up on my website on Rudy Blair Entertainment Media, rudyblairmedia.com. I think it was like in some kind of it was either a restaurant or something like that. It was something that was really unique. And it was really cool to have a chance to talk to you. And looking at the things you've been doing since then to now, it's been amazing, man. What do you think about your journey that you've accomplished so much, my friend?
Oh man, since the Junos, it's really been a roller coaster. Lots of ups, lots of downs, but just like it's just been an experience of growth and maturation, and especially in the music, really just kind of changing, a changing of perspective and a changing of sound. There's been so much, and looking back on it, it's crazy because you wake up every day and you're moving forward, you're writing, you're doing interviews, performances, this and that. So you don't always get a lot of time to reflect on the past couple of years, but just in this moment, just thinking back quickly like that, it was really interesting. It has been it's been a very very interesting 3 years.
Definitely. And, during those 3 years, we've been dealing with COVID, changing
Hmm.
the world and how we see the world. And things have come out, things that have always been known have really been put on a platform. How does all of that what we've seen on social media, the news, knowing with COVID, vaccinate, not vaccinate, Black Lives Matters, Karens, Kevins, I can keep going on and on and on. How
Yeah.
has that affected you emotionally? And also, has it affected your career too?
Um, I think personally, it's affected me. Kind of in the ways it's affected kind of a lot of other people, like being an artist. Um, one of our main sources of not only income but joy is performing. Um, but even as kind of like a black man and a person of color, everything that's been happening in Black Lives Matter, there's been so much that has been packed into the past, even 2 years or so of life. Um, and to be honest, I think um, I can't say it affects me differently. I think, you know what I mean, as a human being, we're all kind of going through these collective experiences together. Like we're all going through COVID together. We're all going through what happened like George Floyd last year. We all kind of went through that together. And I think going through it together, I think as an artist, one of our responsibilities is to take everything that we see around us, and find ways to interpret it in ways that resonate with everybody else, to be the voice of everybody else that's going through it that doesn't know how to necessarily express it or say it in the same way or as, quite as beautifully using, maybe their arts or their talents. There's almost a responsibility on artists of every generation to be the voice kind of the people, be the voice that is saying the things that nobody else is saying or the things that everybody else is thinking. So I think it's affected me like everybody else. It's been a little shocking. Um, first of all, with COVID kind of going from being outside and taking for granted the time we spend with people, the time we spend in the company of like loved ones, the time we spend around others, just in public. Um, it was really a shock to see how much we all kind of took that for granted once we realized we couldn't anymore.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And all of a sudden we go from being out and around to just being isolated, and there's like a shift that happens mentally, not right away, but over as the weeks and months progress. I find it was like a slow thing for me, and I think it had an impact on my music, and I think a lot of the music I've got coming up will reflect that impact. I think it's made everybody a little more reflective. Because when stuff like that happens, all of a sudden you think to because it's one of those things like life has a great way of taking your best made plans and laughing at them in the face almost. You know what I mean? We all had plans for 2020. We all had plans for 2021, vacations we wanted to go on, goals, this, that, and all of a sudden we're all just at home. And I think that's really interesting. Um, just to kind of, I think it's a humbling experience, but it's also an experience that teaches us all that, you know, this shit we got is precious. What
Yes.
we have is precious. Life is precious. We saw so many people lose their lives. Like life is precious and time is precious, and it just I think allowed me to realign with what was important. I think that was one of the big things, especially in the past 2 years. So yeah,
One of the things I want to make sure I add to that list is the Indigenous Children's Gravesite, which was
yes,
also a
yes,
huge
please,
wake up call. If
yeah.
anything, when you talked about goals and things like that, it seems like the goals that you set yourself, no matter how hard it is, you accomplish, man. Which is one of the reasons why you and I are talking. The Allan Slaight JUNO Master Class Artist List. You are part of it this year, my friend. Congratulations on that. I've had the pleasure of interviewing for the last couple of years the master class, and it is such a pleasure to see your name on this list. How do you feel about this honor added to your list? And what has the master class done for your career?
Um, the masterclass has done so much. It was such an honor to get selected out of so many people that applied, and the selection really came out of winning CBC Searchlight, which was
We're
a
gonna get to that.
blessing
Oh, don't say too much about that. We're gonna get to that in a
in and
second.
of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the masterclass was incredible. The mentors that there were amazing. I felt like every day I was done with the masterclass, my brain was just like swelling because there was so much information condensed into like these 5 hour days, maybe. I mean, it was everything from PR to touring to this to that. They brought like bona fide experts in that were teaching us all kinds of stuff, and so at the end of the day, I always felt like I need to nap. Like this is school. This is a whole different thing where they're trying to like take you through what felt like years of education in like a week. But they were so good at like really condensing it and breaking it down. And it was cool to be there with other like really accomplished artists that were doing their own thing in their own lanes. So you know what I mean? It was the energy coming out of it was so good because you're just there with other artists that were super passionate, with mentors that were super passionate about teaching you. And so at the end of the week, I just felt charged up. I just felt like it kind of put a battery in my back to kind of apply these lessons forward.
So here's the cool thing about this, all right? The masterclass, when you're part of this, you get to play at a showcase at the next Juno Awards. Now
Yeah.
let's go back to what I went shh about something that you won from CBC, which also gives you a chance to perform at a showcase at the
Yeah.
Junos. Now I tried to go shh. What was that you also received another honor earlier? And again, it has to do with CBC.
Yeah, I was selected as the winner of CBC Searchlight 2021. It was an honor. It was for my song Down. Um, and it's amazing. Like that song came from such a weird, dark time, and it ended up being something that really inspired the judges. It inspired the people that were voting, and at the end of the day, there's nothing more poetic than that. Something beautiful coming out of a perhaps darker song. And so, yeah, CBC they really resonated with the message in the song, and I couldn't be more grateful to be selected as winner.
Just curious, have you bought a lottery ticket yet? Just wondering.
I should. I actually don't believe in the lottery. I'm one of those believe in making your own luck kind of
Yeah,
people. So
that's fine, but have you bought a lottery ticket yet? It's like
I
30
should.
something $1 million right now.
Yeah, it is. It is actually. I actually saw it somewhere. A friend was telling me that. Oh man, I feel like I should. Like, wow,
Uh,
so
duh,
smart.
yes, you should. Damn, like it's such a positive role, and especially after, I mean, which makes you a great role model because of all the tough things that a lot of people have been going through. So seeing the success you have gives people, I think, hope in going, well, if he can have this positive vibe going, why can't I just concentrate and get to that positive vibe? Also, the positive vibes for you, the music for you starts in Scarborough, my friend, years ago. And I don't want to give too much away, but let's just say Dad DJ. Go.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like music goes way back with all my family, man. Dad was a DJ back in the day. Mom used to sing for the choir. She still does. So music has always been around the household. They never really pushed it on us as kids, but it was always just around. It was just present. So we were
Yep.
always like, there was always music playing. There was always my mom singing, my dad blasting music louder than any human being should. So it was always around, and that I think kind of became the foundation of what would later become a passion. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
was more later on that I discovered it. But it was cool because I got discovered on my own terms.
I'm just curious, vinyl or CD back then?
Oh, vinyl, all the way, vinyl. My dad had shelves of vinyl, walls of vinyl. Even to this day, he has them. I don't know what he plans on doing with them. But
What do you
yeah,
think? I hope you got room somewhere back there for all of that vinyl, man.
I should. It's funny that I don't collect vinyl at all. I'm very much. I don't. It doesn't matter too much the medium in which I get my music. To me, it's always been more like. I've always been more live music guy. So I'll have a wall of guitars more than I'll have a wall of vinyls.
I'm just curious. Did he have the milk cartons?
He had the milk crates. He had the milk crates.
Crates.
And then at one point he made shelves, and he had shelving because the milk
Yes.
crates were up. So he had shelving of records. Oh my god.
Your dad is true old school because, of course, that's what I grew up with my dad and my brother doing the same thing. So there's a reason why we are doing this interview, my friend. But writing music and performing music, when did that actually start clicking for you?
Oh, I think before anything, I just wanted to be on stage. So I think it was like I must have been 18, 19. I was in school, and it was like on a bet from like some friends and my girlfriend that I enter a singing competition because I was the kind of person like I wouldn't sing in front of people. I just kind of sing to myself or in the shower, stuff like that, just like to myself. It was my own little thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then people around me that were close to me knew I can do it. So they encouraged me to kind of put it out there, and I did, and it reacted positively. And I got that first taste of being on stage, and from there it was like that was my drug. That was it. I didn't want nothing else. I just wanted to be on stage. So it started just me driving around to any open mic night that was in the area for me and just getting on stage. And then after a while, I was like, okay, I like this, but I got to start writing my own songs. So I learned how to write, and then I started learning, and then it was like one of those habits that just got way, way, way out of hand.
I'm curious, though, what you just said about people encouraged you. How important was that for you?
Oh, that was everything. I think encouragement's everything. I think it's so funny that encouragement could be the difference between somebody thinking, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this," and somebody being like, "Nah, it's probably not for me." It's crazy, and you never know what the future has in store, right? Like, what if things go incredibly right and you become one of the greats? You have no idea what the future has in store. So sometimes people make decisions not based on logic or some forecast of the future, just based on how it makes them feel in the moment. So I was lucky enough to be around people that made music feel really good in the beginning. And that was a blessing. I was around people that just wanted to play guitar and hang out all day, and music was fun and it was freeing. And that became my association with it from the beginning. And it was never like I said, my parents were in it, but they would rather me be a doctor or a lawyer or something. But then one day I came home with a guitar, and as much as they were like, I hope you have a plan B, at the same time they were like, you know what, just do it, just do. And that was really the basis for me. I was really lucky to not have people in my life that were trying to steer me away from it. They were just like, but they weren't trying to push me into it either. They were just allowing me to fall in love with it, and I did, and here we are.
R&B, whether it be American or Canadian, has always been a true form of communication of love and heartbreak and emotions and things like that. One of the reasons why I'm wearing my Marvin Gaye shirt today, right now, one of the greatest R&B soul artists of all time. Who were some of the artists that you looked up to growing up?
Oh man, I looked up to everybody that was around. Like when I really got into it, it was like maybe like early 2000s, something like that. But I was just mimicking artists that I liked back then. So it was all like late 90s R&B, but a lot of soul too. So like a lot of Lauryn Hill, a lot of D'Angelo, a lot of John Legend, a lot of music, Soul Child, Angie Stone, Jill Scott, Flowetry at the time. My goodness, everybody that was doing R&B in like a soulful kind of way. Back then, I was just trying to mimic it because when you're starting, you don't really have a sense of your own style yet.
Mm-hmm.
So everything you're doing is just based on stuff you see and stuff you like. And everything that I saw and I liked back then was just like old school soulful R&B. So I was just trying to sing like music, Soul Child, try to sing like John Legend back then. And I feel like I could still hear a lot of that in my music, a lot of spirit of that, like how it started in my music. Now I can feel it. But that's kind of where it started. It just started by mimicking the people I admired.
Now, I have to make sure when I ask you this next question, folks who hear this question, because of the climate that we're in, I want to make sure that people understand I'm asking this with respect, nothing malicious or anything like that. as I said, R&B is such a beautiful way of communicating your emotions. When I grew up, to speak to the opposite sex, women, um, you usually would listen to a song if you didn't know what to say. You may have, taken a lyric from that song to be able to communicate.
Yeah.
Did you, especially because you have the chops and everything else, did you use maybe a lyric or from somebody you looked up to or something that you wrote to meet and connect with the opposite sex?
Oof. Where do I begin with that? I feel like when I was younger, I was like, but honestly, okay. So when I got started, I feel like I was like when I was like younger and coming through high school and stuff, I was just
Yes.
too awkward for that stuff. All I wanted to do was like get really good math scores and like play basketball. Like I was a strange kid. But then um but then when I got older and I kind of like really started like finding myself like I'd say in my early 20s when I started singing, all I wanted to do was like, yeah, get up on stage and like it was like a party trick for me. I just wanted to like I just like doing it, right? Because I was like, oh my goodness, look at this new thing I can do. And I sing. And so I go to the open mics and I'd be singing, I'd be trying to impress people and I'd be like singing to the ladies and stuff and trying to like, like I was just
Yep.
imitating what I saw. So it wasn't even like a lyric, it was more just the energy and the vibe and the kind of like, just that fake it till you make it confidence because Lord knows I was still like the nerdiest dude even when I was getting started and even to this day. But at the time, all I wanted to do was just like be like the people that were like seducing on TV and stuff. So yeah, I'd go to open mics and I'd be singing my songs and I'd be like gyrating for the ladies and doing all that stuff. And it was the worst. Like I look back now and I'm like, I'm embarrassed. Just the thoughts are embarrassing. I'm not even, just having it run through my mind is enough. But yeah, like it was just more the energy. It wasn't even the lyric. It was just the vibe of R&B. So absolutely,
I,
absolutely, 100%.
I love hearing that, man, because that is true old school. Believe me when I tell you on that, man. But we are talking what's happening new in the present and the future. New music. What is going on with you with that right now?
Oh, so much in the way of new music. Um, Number one, since I kind of went independent from my label last year, and since then I've just been putting out a string of single, and they've been doing well, and it's just been like a cool opportunity for rebirth for me to like kind of start redefining what I want for myself out of the music and the kind of music I want to make. So over the past year, we've been putting out single after single, and some of them have been getting amazing traction on Spotify, and it's been a blessing. And going forward, I'm hoping to kind of put the finishing touches on an album or an EP, hopefully by the beginning of next year. Lord knows, all winter I'm going to be locked in the studio. As part of the CBC Searchlight win, I've got a week of studio time in Calgary at the National Music Center. So it's just
Wow.
I'm gonna go down there and just play for a week. I'm gonna be in a different environment, messing around with like old vintage guitars and stuff, and who knows what comes out of that. So right now, my goal has just been creating. But by spring next year, I know I'm gonna have all the music I need just to like really push through for the next year and give people a taste of the new Jhyve, which is, um, I guess, somebody that has kind of worn um, this pandemic as we all have
Yes.
has kind of become a little more thoughtful, a little more self-aware. I think my R&B is going to really be something that's more contemplative. You know what I mean? Like I've really kind of stepped into a space where I want to be more like thoughtful with the music and I'm excited because I'm like finding this place where I want it to slap, but then I want you to hear lyrics and be like, whoa, like this guy's really saying something, and find that blend. It's something really akin to like what Kendrick does for me, where it's like a lot of that stuff really bumps and really moves, but then when you listen to the lyrics, he's saying something. And I love what that is, and so that'll be kind of my mission um, towards R&B to really broaden from love and sex and seduction that R&B is known for, and really um, talk about something else, change the subject matter up, or at least try doing something for me.
You talked about you released a lot of singles. Is there one particular single, like your latest single? If so, what is that single called and what's it about, please?
Oh, absolutely. My latest one is one called Signs, and that's really about. That one's actually a really funny story. 'Cause it's really about a girl who was really like on me, so to speak. You know what I mean? But at the same time, she had somebody. So it was this really weird situation where I felt like the other guy. And every time that we would like get together, this all like came and went, but it was inspired by the story. Every time like we like get together and hook up and stuff like that, she'd swear it was the last time. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know I'm gonna see you again. You know what I mean? Like I kept feeling vibe, like I know I'm gonna see you again. Like this ain't the last time. So there's a song called Signs because it was inspired by that. And then my favorite song, the one I recommend to everybody, is a song called About Her. And it's just like an ode to women. It's just a song that talks about that ideal woman in my mind and who she is. And it has nothing to do with physical aspects or attributes. It all comes down to like who she is as a person. And I think it's beautiful and it's one of my favorite songs. And so if there's any song I recommend anybody listen to, it's a song called About Her. I love it.
I love that, man. Like I keep saying, old school spirit. You can feel the residency from that one on you. What's going on with? Even though you're going to head to Calgary, will there be any performances? Whether it be in a club scene, virtual, what's happening venue wise?
Ooh, venue wise. No shows in the immediate future because like I've already told everybody around me, I'm just trying to lock in for the winter. But
Mhm.
I know starting next year, we've got some live performances that we're going to be releasing.
Good.
Um, One of them is actually, hopefully in the next couple weeks, it's going to be a song that's very nostalgic to all my '90s R&B people. A certain song by Music Soul Child that I love, and I did a live rendition of it. So I can't wait to put that out. Past that, yeah, some live performances. Early on in the year, some pre-recorded stuff because COVID's still a thing.
Yeah.
But my hope is as we kind of move more and more into 2022, I can get back on stage and just start sharing that energy with people in person.
Holidays are coming up as we speak. Christmas season. What's going on with you on that?
Ooh, Christmas season. What happens to me during Christmas season? I just get very family oriented, so I don't do too much music. I'm not like a Christmas Carol kind of guy. Like I'm more just like, whiskey and the eggnog, hang out with my brothers
Ah,
kind of guy. So, so that'll kind of be the energy through the holidays, just kind of giving myself a chance to rest and reflect. I think as everybody will. And then, coming into next year, it'll really just be coming swinging, like single after single after single, culminating with the album. So yeah, the next little while I'll just be taking it easy, and then in the next year I can't wait to show people. Like I've already got a couple songs done, and like the stuff is just next level. I can't wait. I'm excited.
just curious. As a kid, what was your favorite Christmas gift?
Oh man, video games all day. Video games all day, every day. I can't remember. I won't ever forget the time that like I mean, my family was like a Sega family, so we had a Genesis, we had Sega Saturn, we had a Dreamcast at one point, and then at one point we switched over and I had a PlayStation. Oh my goodness! And now I'm up to PS5 now. Like I'm hooked. I'm hooked. That'll never change. I might be 70 with like PS9 or something, and like I'm cool with that. I'm very okay with that.
Oh, why do I get this feeling when you go 6 feet under, what's going to be crossed as your game
Wearing
around
me
you?
with my PlayStation and my guitar, literally, and my leather jacket. That's it. 3 days. I'll
as
take
we
them.
as we head into 2022, the last couple of years, it's always been like 2019. Oh, I can't wait for 2020. It's gonna be a better year. And then 2020 hit, and people were like, "Oh, I can't wait for 2021." I wanted to be a better year. Now we're going to 2022, and people are having those same thoughts and aspects. What advice can you give folks out there from your experiences? Because just because we get into a new year doesn't mean it's going to be completely a new life.
Mhm.
High expectations, but what advice can you give folks that hopefully they can pace themselves, so they can reach where they want to reach, and it doesn't matter if it's a new year or time?
That's very interesting. Goal setting has always been something that has been um, very loose for me. I'm not a fan of, like you said, putting out these big resolution style massive goals. I've always been more of a fan of just setting small attainable goals. So I'll say to myself, okay, I want to have this many songs done by this time. I want to have my album done by this time. I want to do my goals are more around like things I can do. So like I want to post this much this week. I want to post this much this week. So it's more like smaller attainable things. And so what I would tell people is the bigger goals I think should always more be about um like kind of make it like I'd say make it very abstract in terms of like how do you want to feel? or instead of what you want to accomplish long term, and then short term make the goals more what you want to accomplish. Because I feel like if you make these accomplishment goals, these big things, all of a sudden you've put like a mountain in front of you, and that sometimes can psych us out. So I'd rather like kind of take it more in terms of um, making those goals smaller and go week to week, go day to day. Just say, hey, for the next week, I want to do this much working out, or this much content creation, or this much this, or this much that, and break the goal down and work backwards from it. And then at the end of the year, you could look back and then kind of chart how all of your goals and actions kind of made you feel, and if it was a positive feeling or a negative feeling, because you want to make sure at the end of the day that you're enjoying your climb. You know what I mean? Even though it's work, you want to be able to find some joy in your climb, or you'd never do it. It would never be sustainable, you know? So, yeah, me, I've always been a fan of smaller, concrete, attainable things that aren't necessarily goals, just more goals more in the sense of like objectives or targets, you know what I mean? And then, yeah, that's I've always been able to do that. And then a year passes, and I look back, and I'm like, wow, like look what I did, you know? So yeah, that's kind of where I see it.
Congratulations on the
Thank you.
masterclass. Congratulations on the Searchlight. Congratulations on the past Juno nomination.
Thank you.
I am so looking forward to seeing you conquering the world in 2022 and beyond. Like I said, you are another great example of cutting through the darkness, getting through the light, bringing good joy, not just for yourself, but the people around you and across the country. Because, one of the things that people have said a lot during this pandemic was music got them through it. It's your music that's part of that. So thank you for all of this. And like I said, all the best in 2020, 2022, my friend.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Very kind words, and I look forward to sharing this upcoming music and kind of telling more stories and having people connect. So yeah, by all means, if anybody's listening, follow right now. This is Jhyve on everything. And thank you for having me, man. I remember those interviews from back in the Juno days, and it was such a blessing to just know that I got supporters like you, and it feels good. It puts the battery in my back. After this, I'm gonna get up and want to run around the block and find another song to make. Like, this stuff energizes me, so I appreciate you. Thank you for your energy.